I'm one of the educators here at the Art Gallery of Alberta, and I'm here with Sophia. Hi, Sophia. We're in the Orange Studio, and we're going to bring to you a program called Artist as a Storyteller. It is a virtual family tour and activity that we have prepared for you. So first of all, a little bit of housekeeping. We're on Treaty 6 in Edmonton, Alberta. And the gallery is open to you, the public, Thursday to Saturday. The hours will be changing soon, though, I think. But you do need to make reservations to make sure that we can welcome you. Also, we are coming to you through Webinar Jam. And if there are technical difficulties anywhere in the program, there is a yellow refresh button on the top of your screen. Just press that and it'll bring you right back into sync with us. And if you miss anything, if there's anything that you're confused or concerned about, or you want to make a comment or you're super excited about, make sure you chat with us. Sophia's going to be looking after the chat while I'm talking and doing my thing, but also this will be recorded and will be put on our YouTube station. So there we have it. Sophia, how many people do we have with us right now? We've got 5 people with us. Excellent. And we're expecting a few more, I think, yeah? Okay, so who do we have with us so far? Don't know. All right, so hello everybody. We're just going to start by we're going to get our minds into this program. So I'm going to start by asking a few questions. And that is, what comes to your mind when you hear the word art? What comes into your mind? What comes into mind when you hear the word art? For me, one of the first things that comes into mind is, not even into my mind, comes to me is the excitement of being able to look at and make art. That's a super awesome thing. Does anybody have anything they want to share through the chat? What comes to mind when you hear the word art? So because our program is called Artist as a Storyteller, then we could also explore, what is the story? And what do art and story have to do with each other? Sophia is showing up me that somebody has contributed painting, somebody else contributed drawing. Those are 2 excellent things that we love to do here at the gallery, and it's great that you love to do them too. What else? Do we have anything else we want to say? Today we're going to be discovering or exploring what these 2 individuals have in common. Art and connection. Excellent. Art and connection. Art does connect us, doesn't it? That's really great. So we are going to talk about how artists and storytellers make their art and what they have in common, because we don't often think about the commonalities between visual art and writing. So where do we see pictures and words together? Are there any places that you can think of just now where you see places, you see words and pictures together? I often see pictures and words on t-shirts. Do you see pictures and words on t-shirts too, Sophia? Do you see them anywhere around this room, pictures and words together? Yes. Yes, on our little ID tags, we have pictures and words. We have pictures and words on the blackboard, though you can't see it now. We've got pictures and words on the covers of books. In a book. Perfect, we're on the same page. Aha, nice. So when you hear a story, do pictures ever come into your mind? Mine do. Do pictures come into your mind when you hear a story, Sophia? Sophia's very busy. She's doing so many things for us right now, you don't even know. And when you are drawing a picture, do you ever have a story that comes into your mind? So we're going to play a little game. I'm going to describe a painting that we have right now in the gallery that was made by Arthur Lismer. And you are going to take, oh yes, I forgot to go over that. So hopefully you have at your disposal some paper and something to draw or write with. I have one of our sketchboards here that we use at the gallery that if you've been here, you've probably seen them. So I'm just going to describe this painting, and I invite you just to draw what comes into your mind. Don't think about what's right or wrong, or don't think about it. Just let your hand do the work. So the painting that I am looking at just now has a bunch of rolling hills in the background. A bunch of rolling hills in the background, and it looks like there's the sun. Oh, we can see the painting. That's the other painting, no. Can you see the still like this? It's good? Okay, Sophia's letting me know that I was making it too easy for you. Okay, so in the background, there's some rolling hills. So can you draw some rolling hills for me? And we also see that possibly there's a bunch of sunlight bouncing off the back of these hills because they look like they're lit up, and the sky behind it looks a little bit darker. So that's the background. In the midground, if you know these terms, background, midground, and foreground, in the middle of this painting, we have a bunch of kind of snowy, rocky kind of cliffs, kind of maybe low mountains. They look like they're maybe covered in snow, and they have a bunch of pine trees sticking out of them. And they're a bit darker than the background, which makes me think that, yeah, the sun is absolutely hitting the background, but it's kind of skipping over the midground. And then we come kind of to a drop off where the hills and the trees were underneath the snow. And that drop off has a bunch of like rock faces, like a cliff. A bunch of rock faces like a cliff. And then there's a bunch of running water, like maybe a river or a lake. So we have that. So if you're only drawing with a few colors, don't worry about that, because you can actually use different textures to describe the different things that I'm talking about, right? So for example, like we've got these trees, and then we've got these rocks, which will be darker, and then the river. How are you going to make the texture of water for the river so the viewer knows that it's a different element? That's the tricky part. That's the art part. So then we have the next bank or the next shore. We've got the shore that's closest to us, the viewer. And then we've got a beautiful, beautiful evergreen tree with some heavy, heavy snow on it. So the boughs of the tree are kind of drooping down, So how are you going to draw that? You've got kind of several colors and several textures to manage with here. Okay, and how do you make the foreground, what's closest to you, look closer than what's happening in the background? That's another question to ask, right? So we're going to keep on working on this big tree. It's in the foreground. It's right up close to us, and the boughs are covered with what looks like snow. And then at the feet of the tree is a bunch of kind of bumpy, beautiful snowbanks. All right. So I'm just doing a little test myself. I'm doing a little drawing myself. And I'm going to give you, let's say, 10 more seconds to finish up your drawing, okay? So you've got background with hills, you've got a dark sky, you've got some rolling hills in the midground with some trees and some snow. And then in kind of approaching the foreground, you have some cliffs. And then you have that big tree that I was talking about that have the hanging boughs with snow. And then at the foot of that tree, you've got a whole bunch of snow. Okay, so 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see what we have. I'm going to show you the painting I was describing. Let's see if you got something that approaches this. What do you think, friends? Did I do a good enough job explaining that? Whoops. There we go. Okay, so now Sophia has pulled it up on our slideshow for us. You can see the actual painting. It's called Winter by Arthur Lismer. He's one of the group of 7. No, he's one of the others. He was not with the group of 7, in fact. No, he was with the group of 7. Oh, goodness. Okay, so friends, we're going to go away from this activity and we're going to go into another activity. So I want you to reflect on, and if you can in the chat, let us know if you feel like words and pictures can work together and how they work together. And maybe also let's think about whether or not art, visual art, or words are more successful in telling a story, in your opinion, and why or why not. Let's reflect on that as we go to stop number 2. We're going to go to the video now. Yeah? Okay. Sophia's made a beautiful video to show you what this exhibit looks like. And we're going to start just now. Wow. Hi, friends. So that's a little sneak peek of our exhibit, 100 Years, a Group of 7 and Other Voices. What are the other voices? Well, we'll get to that. I can see your all the comments now. Thank you to those of you that are able to chat with us. Hello, Callista and Kenobi. Hello, Jocelyn. Welcome here. So we're going to go to we have 8 people with us now. Wow. So we're going to go to stop 2, and we're going to look at an element. So the first stop, we were talking about words and pictures together and the kinds of jobs they might have in common and the things that they might do better, maybe one than the other in different contexts. And now we're going to talk about mood. Friends, what is mood, and why would we talk about it when we're talking about art or story? What is a mood? Okay, so I was waiting to see if anybody was really quick on the keyboard, which I'm not, so I don't blame you. A mood is a type, we would call it a device. A mood is an emotion, right? And a mood also contributes to how we feel when we're looking at or reading a piece of work, right? So, Sophia, can we go to the slide 4? I'm stuck there. There we go. Here we have slide 4. And unfortunately, my face is taking out some of this beautiful work on the right-hand side. My right hand, maybe. Oh, there we go. Now I'm in the sky. Okay, so on one side, which might be the left side on your screen, it's the left side on my screen, is The North Shore of Lake Superior by Lauren Harris. Look at those lines and shapes. Does it give you a particular type of mood when you're looking at it? Sophia, do you feel a particular type of mood when you're looking at this painting? She says calm. Does anybody else feel calm when they're looking at this? And then what about the one on the right? Is it quite different? The Edge of the Forest by Emily Carr. Is it quite different than the one that we see of the water? Is it a similar kind of mood, or is it different? And then we have to contemplate what makes these moods similar or different. We have what we call a structural device. So when we're looking at visual art, we look at the different types of lines that are used. So what are the words that we can use to describe The North Shore by Lauren Harris, the one of the water? What kinds of words can we use? Sophia said calm. Would you say that was the same for the lines, Sophia? That the lines are kind of calm? Yeah. I would say the lines are smooth. The lines are quite smooth. And they're also quite thick. Right? Yeah. So if you were to do a quick sketch of this Lake Superior sketch, see if you can use the same kinds of lines that Lauren Harris does. See if you can kind of convey the same sort of mood or share the same kind of mood. Let's do a quick sketch, just 1 minute. See if you can imagine that whatever you're using to draw with is kind of actually in that spot. Can you see it? Maybe I should be using a Sharpie. Is actually at Lake Superior with the artist. See if you can imagine that whatever you're using to draw with is actually touching the elements that you're seeing. Okay, just another couple minutes. It's just a sketch, just a little exploration. And when you're drawing all these calm, thick, smooth lines, how does it make you feel? Do you feel more calm? Maybe you feel thick and slow, or maybe you feel kind of bright and shiny and glistening like sun on the water. Look at that. It's kind of similar. Can we have the slide again, Sophia? Okay, so now let's compare with Emily Carr. What kinds of lines would you use to convey the same mood of Emily Carr? What kinds of things are you seeing in there? I'm seeing something that almost makes me think that it's the wind. Though how can we paint the wind, right? And I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to see if I can make some similar lines and see if the mood that it puts me in is similar to what I was seeing when I was looking at the Lake Superior. And maybe you've been lucky enough in your life to actually have visited the two places. Short lines. Yes, Dara, absolutely. There is more short lines, making it look more like wind, isn't there? More short lines. See what happens when you try and employ more short lines in your drawing. It's quite different from the other piece, even though, would you say that the mood is similar between those two pieces? If you're busy looking at your paper and you're not looking at the screen, do not fret. Just keep on doing what you can. We're all learning how to do this distance learning stuff. Okay, so that's kind of my interpretation of the Emily Carr. This is kind of my interpretation of the Arthur Lismer. Okay, can we look at those two again, Sophia? There we go. So if you're going to use words to describe these two paintings, would you use words that are the same or different? I would probably use some of the same words. Would you use some of the same words, Sophia? Maybe, maybe not. Sophia's a very precise person. She'd probably find all sorts of different words to use for each one. I could think of calm, peaceful. I could also think of glorious, because they're both beautiful natural settings, right? Okay, does anybody have any comments? Any questions? All right. So we were discussing lines earlier, and we also, maybe we could discuss color when it comes to mood. Are these colors conveying a similar mood, or are they a different mood? And what would happen, for example, if on the edge of the forest with the tree, what if it was an autumn kind of color? What if it was winter? Would it be the same mood? Would it be as similar to the North Shore of Lake Superior, the water one, if they were different seasons? That's an interesting thing to think about. And then what about textures? What kinds of textures do you see in these two paintings? If you could actually just magically enter the world of these two paintings, what kinds of things would you be able to feel with your hands? Would you be feeling smooth things? Would you be feeling sharp things or rugged things? Would they be soft? Would you like feeling them? Maybe you won't like feeling them. Some people don't like touching things that are wet or touching things that are dirty. I kind of like both. In fact, if I had my way, I'd jump into the water in Lake Superior and then I would go dry off underneath that tree that Emily Carr drew. Super beautiful. Nice. So just keep that in mind as we move on to stop 3. What's going to happen in stop 3? Look at that. Stop 3. Here we're going to discuss another tool that both artists and storytellers use, and it's setting and characters. Setting and characters. What is a setting and what are characters, friends? I see two very different settings in front of me when I look at these two paintings. One I actually kind of feel really nice about, that I would like to be in. And another one, I really don't want to be there at all. Can you guess which one I don't want to be in? Sophia's laughing because I think maybe she feels the same way. So the one of the cabin was painted by Thompson, who was unofficially one of the group of 7 members, but he actually disappeared during a canoeing trip and nobody knows where he went. So that also makes me, knowing that, it's included in my emotion when I look at this painting. And also, when I look at the different colors and textures that he used to paint the actual building, it doesn't look very inviting to me. It looks like the lights are off. It looks like it's cold. It looks like there's nobody around. And then when we look at the one on the other side, called October in the Eastern Townships, which I imagine is Quebec, because it does look a lot like Quebec. It looks a lot different, doesn't it? If you were to walk right in there, how would you feel? What kinds of textures and shapes and lines are telling this story? Are they words that you know, or words that you maybe haven't even met yet in your life? Maybe you could just draw it. I would like to be in this place in the Eastern Townships. It looks super nice. So I'm just thinking about how to do the next activity. So friends, if you have your piece of paper and you're able to, let's write down the 6 curious questions. Do you know what the 6 curious questions are? We have who, and we have what. So I'm going to divide my paper into 2, and then I'm going to make 3 blocks like that. So here I have who, then I have what, and then I have where, and then I have how, and then I have when. What am I missing? Who, what, where, when, how, why. Okay, who, what, where, when, how, why. 6 curious questions. Now, we are going to try and get some more information about these paintings by reflecting on these 6 curious questions. So the first one, who? Pick one of the paintings that you find yourself being the most curious about, and we'll work on that one first. So who? May we have the 2 slides again, Sophia? Okay, so I'm going to ask myself, when I'm looking at the cabin painting, I'm asking myself, who? So ask yourself who. It could be who lives here, or who painted this. It could be who, could be a few options. I'm going to ask myself who about this cabin, and I'm going to ask myself who lives here. Who lives here? What kind of person would live here? And would they look similar to the cabin, all dark and heavy and not colorful, maybe old, right? It could be an old man that lives there, or an old woman, or it could be, who else could live there? Maybe an old farmer lives there, or an old hunter. Okay, so first question, who? And I wrote lives here. A bear? Nice! I would like to hear a story about a bear living in an old cabin. I'm going to write that down. A bear. Super. Okay, and then how about the one on the right-hand side, on my screen anyway, the one that's called October with all the trees that still is quite colorful. It doesn't look like winter yet. It looks like autumn. I'm going to ask myself who for the same painting. Who? Could it be who travels here? Who travels here? Or it could be me, because I've traveled in the Eastern Townships in Quebec. They're very beautiful. If you haven't been there, you should go check it out. Super beautiful place. It could be who, what else could it be? What else could it be? Do you have a who question, Sophia? Who works here? Who works here? That's a good question. Who works here? Does it look like there's lots of work? It looks like people could be going into the fields and harvesting things for autumn time, getting ready for winter. Beautiful. Who works here? Okay, so those are some good questions. Anybody has any answers, feel free just to pop them in the chat. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next curious question. What? So looking at the cabin that I think is scary, you might not find it scary. I'm going to write the question for myself. What happened here? What happened here? What happened here? Do you have a question, Sophia? A what question for the old cabin? Or maybe for the bear? I'm going to write, what are you doing, bear? What are you doing there, bear? Are you hibernating? Good question. Maybe, yeah, it would be a good spot to hibernate. Are you hibernating in style? Nice. Excellent. So when we look at the Eastern Townships in beautiful Quebec, what kind of question comes to your mind if you ask yourself, what? I'm going to ask myself, what are they growing? What are they growing? What is the history of this place? Good question, Jocelyn. There's so much history in Quebec. So much and so many different stories to tell. What is the history here? Yeah, I would like to know where in the Eastern Townships, right? What land is it? What territory is it, right? Yeah, those are good questions. Okay. So, do you have a what question for the Eastern Townships, Sophia? No, she doesn't. She's busy. Okay. So now we're going to go to where. Where? That might be an easy question to answer. Or not. Where? So I'm over at the cabin. I'm in the woods. It is snowy. I'm alone, it looks like, unless there's a bear hibernating in the cabin, in which case I don't want to wake the bear up. Where? And there's a bunch of little trees that look like deciduous trees, like the type of trees that lose their leaves in the winter. So where am I? Let's say I'm in, what is it? Is it Canada? Is it Serbia? Is it even this planet, right? It doesn't have to be this planet, right? I'm going to say that I'm on a planet named Winterraria. Winterraria. I'm in a place that even though it looks like winter, it's super warm and everybody's happy. And right now, just everybody's sleeping. That's why it looks so quiet. And then over on the other side, in the Eastern Townships of Quebec, where? Yeah, I want to know where are all the people? That's what I want to know. Where are the people? And I also want to know, are those cows in the back? I was going to ask, where are the animals? But I think those are cows in the back. Way in the back, little spots. Either cows or mushrooms. Probably cows, considering the size and the shape. So for where, I'm on the planet Winterraria for the scary cabin, and then I have where are the people? I'm in the Eastern Townships of Quebec. Now how about how? How, what? How in the Fraser's Lodge? How did I get here? I could ask. How did they get there? Okay, how did this cabin get there? Because when you look at the trees around, they're all tiny. What happened? Did they cut down all the big trees to make the cabin? Because if they tried to make made a cabin with those tiny trees, they wouldn't really get very far, would they? How did this cabin get there? Okay. How about in the Eastern Townships? How? What could we ask ourselves about how? I'm getting to know this painting. We're making a story for ourselves. How? How? It looks kind of almost like quite a small pasture. Is it a garden, or is it is it a little forest? I'm going to ask, how did it get planted? How did this get planted? Right? Because when farmers came, they had to cut a whole bunch of trees down, and then they had to replant a whole bunch of things as well. So, how did this get planted? Do you have a question, Sophia? No. Okay, excellent. So now continuing on with Fraser's Lodge. When? What kind of question could we have for when? It could be very simply, when is this, right? When is this? When will the lights come on? Okay, when will the lights come on? And then how about in the Eastern Townships? What kind of question can we ask for when? When will they harvest? Or when will they plant more? When will they plant again? Okay, last question, friends. So, why? We have why for Fraser's Lodge. Scary, potentially scary lodge. Why does it look scary? Could be a question. Why is it dark? Okay, and so now we're looking at the Eastern Townships. And we have to think of a question, why? I would ask, why does it look so pretty? What makes it look so nice? Or why does it look so colorful? Okay, so we got to the end of our homework there, friends. So we've got who, what, where, how, when, why. So this is a way that you can actually sit down and write yourself a story about these paintings to remember this time together, or just to help yourself maybe understand or reflect a little bit more on things that you're seeing in the museum or that you don't understand. Or maybe even sometimes you could do it with things that you don't really like, and you ask yourself why you don't like them. You could sit down and go through the 6 curious questions and maybe find out that you like it more than you thought. Or it gives you some idea to make a painting of your own or a story of your own. The power of words and images, friends, are they the same in each moment, right? If any of you speaks another language at home, then maybe you know too that sometimes you can't find the right word in one language. You have to use a word in another language because there are different concepts and ideas that people come up with. And that's also true with visual art. So we're going to look at another slide here, friends. But I want you to keep in mind those two paintings that we were just looking at, okay? And take another blank piece of paper, okay? And pick one of those paintings, either the Lodge or the Eastern Townships, and with different kinds of lines or different kinds of colors or different types of textures, I want you to see if you can tell a different story with a sketch, okay? So don't look too closely at the paintings, okay? Only look at them if you absolutely need to. But I'm going to, for example, I'm going to see if I can make the Fraser's Lodge look a little happier using different lines and different shapes and different colors and textures. I didn't put any colored pencil crayons out for myself, but I'll just use this black and white so you can see. So if I was going to make this into a different story, I would draw the cabin in the back. I can't see myself. I'm blocking myself. I put the windows here and then the big roof, right? And then maybe I would put like pretty curtains in the windows. And then maybe in the chimney, I would make a little fire. I'll put some smoke like there's a fire in there. And then maybe I would, it's just easier if maybe I make it into spring. So I could put like trees that have leaves on it. I could put some flowers coming up the walk, right? So go ahead and take 5 minutes, friends, and just see if you can, with different lines and shapes and colors and textures, tell a different story with one of these paintings that we were just exploring. Just a few minutes. So if this were my cabin, I would definitely plant a garden because that's one of my favorite things to do. And I want people to feel welcome when they come to my cabin. So I put maybe a welcome mat out. And I plant more trees. A whole bunch of trees. So people will breathe the clean air and feel good. Maybe I'd get a little dog. What do you think, Sophia? Should I get a dog for the cabin? Get a little dog. And maybe I'll draw the bear sticking his face out the window, welcoming everybody. Can't really tell it's a bear because it's tiny. And what else could I do to make it look more welcoming? Maybe I'll put a rainbow. Why not? I'll put a rainbow behind my cabin. Okay, 1 more minute, friends. Finish up your little sketch. This is just a sketch. You can work on it afterwards if you wish. It's just an outline. If you were writing this story, it would just be an outline. That's what authors call it when they're just kind of scratching everything together. Okay, 30 seconds, friends. 30 seconds. What else can I do to make this look nice? Maybe I'll put a little fountain in the front so people could come and drink water. That's what I'll do. Fresh, clean water. Nice. Okay. So if you want to share anything that you've drawn or painted or written today, go ahead and take a photograph of it and send it to us here at the ATA. You can do that through our Instagram account. Is that right, Sophia? Yeah, Sophia knows everything. Okay, so we're going to go to our last stop, stop number 4. We're going to do some more drawing. So get a piece of paper ready. Okay, so here we have what we call narrative. Does anybody know what a narrative is? What is a narrative? A narrative. I'm going to let you reflect on that, and I'll keep on going. So we talked about the different elements of art. So the first stop, we talked about writing and pictures going together. Then the second stop, we talked about mood, right? How do we convey or share a mood through a piece of work? And through that, we discussed the 4 elements of art: line, shape, color, and texture. Those things help the artist tell the story without any words. Dara is sharing with us, a narrative is the storyline, and that is absolutely correct. Yes, a narrative is the storyline. Awesome work, Dara. So then we went to setting and characters. A setting is, for example, the place where the story or the piece of work is taking place. So the setting could have been the Eastern Townships in Quebec, or it could have been that scary cabin. And then the characters. Who are the characters? Do we see any characters in those 2 paintings? We didn't, did we? So we have to imagine for ourselves, like, who would live there? When we're looking at these paintings, we would probably ask ourselves, what kind of people live there or go there or work there, right? So we know that when we're looking at art, that we kind of make up a story in our mind about what the pictures are telling us. And often when we're reading just words, our mind makes up pictures for us, doesn't it, when we're looking at story? So that's another reason why we know that those 2 things work very well together. So this last one, we're going to look at the storyline or narrative. And we have on the left, on my left hand, these 2 girls, it's called, 2 females, 1 young woman and then 1 young girl. And we can see that they're in an environment that looks quite green. They're probably not in a city, or if they are, it's a big park, but it kind of doesn't look like it. And they look quite serious, don't they? They look serious, but they don't, do they look unhappy? I don't know if they look unhappy, but they definitely look serious. And then on the other side, we have Prairie with People by Maxwell Bates. And those people, we could say that they don't look necessarily very joyous, right? They don't look that happy. Maybe they've just been working hard in the fields. Maybe they just finished taking the hay off, or they're worried about the weather, or maybe they're waiting for somebody. I don't know what they're doing. So we're going to look at the lines and the shapes and the textures and the colors. And we're going to think about the who, what, where, why, when, what, as we're looking at these, right? As a little bit of research. But we're also going to add something on. We're going to divide our paper into 3, okay? It doesn't matter if it's perfect 3, just 3, okay? And in the first one, we're going to write before. B-E-F-O-R-E, before. And then the last one, we're going to write after. So it will look something like this, friends. Before and after. You don't even have to write it. You just have to know that on one side you've got before, and then on the other side you've got after. So in the middle, we have our actual event, which is one of the paintings that we're looking at. So you can choose to look at either the prairie people, kind of unhappy or stressed out kind of looking people, or you could choose to look at the 2 girls. So I think for me, since the last thing I focused on was a little bit scary, the cabin, I'm going to focus on the 2 girls. So in the middle, just draw a sketch for yourself, super quick, 2 minutes even, of the kinds of lines that you see and the kinds of textures that make up the beginning, the middle story, okay? Which is the middle event for our purposes. So super fast, just kind of making up those lines and those textures. Okay, another 30 seconds, friends. Okay, and if you don't finish it, do not fret. You have time afterwards to finish it. You'll remember what you're doing. Okay, so here I've got my middle. I've got the two young ladies. And then I'm going to ask myself, what happened before this painting happened? What happened before? And maybe I want to write it in words, or maybe I want to make a picture about it. That's up to you. So you can choose to write down what you think happened before the painting that you chose, or you can draw a picture about it. So I'm going to draw a picture about it because I like drawing pictures. And I'm going to give us 2 minutes to do this. Okay, friends? So, for example, they're sitting together. I'm going to say that maybe they were working in the field. So I'm going to draw kind of a field. And I'm going to draw the two ladies. Maybe they were out harvesting things and putting them in big baskets. Okay, so that's my before. As you can see, it's really rough, right? We're not worried about what it looks like. It's just an experiment. So here we have my before. That's what that looks like. Can you see, friends? So there they are. They're in the fields. They're harvesting something. Okay? And then we're going to write down, we're going to draw or write down what happens after this painting that we're looking at now. So they were harvesting in the fields. Now they're in the middle and they're having a nice little rest. And what's going to happen afterwards? Maybe they're going to go for a nice swim in the creek. That's what they're going to do. They're going to go for a nice swim. I'm going to put clouds, a few fish. I know that some people don't like fish, but I like fish. So I'm going to put fish in my lake. And then I'm going to put our two ladies. They're swimming, having a nice time. Voila. Okay, again, super rough. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's just an idea, right, friends? Okay, so there you have another outline for yourself, right? You could easily write a story or make a series of pictures about this. So this brings me to our last activity that I'm going to leave you with today, and that is how to make a zine, okay? Now, it took us a couple times, Sophia and I, to figure out how to do this, but I'm sure that you're going to figure it out right away. And if you don't, that is totally okay, because there is on our website, Dara is with us, showing us how to make a zine, and that's exactly what we're going to do together right now. There's also lots of YouTubes of it, and maybe even you know how to make a zine already. So for example, it's in the chat. Sophia's put it in the chat. Okay, so friends, if you're going to look with me here, you take a regular piece of any kind of paper, but this is copy paper, right? It's the most common paper for us nowadays, and it's easy to work with. So we're going to we're going to pretend it's a hot dog bun. Okay? And we're going to fold it in half like this. Okay? And then you're going to take your hot dog bun and you're going to fold it on the same line, just kind of on the other side to make it extra bendy and pliable. Okay? So then you're going to open up your hot dog bun and you're going to make it into a hamburger bun. Okay? So you're going to fold it the fat way. Okay? Here's your hamburger bun. Okay? And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to fold it the other way just to make it extra bendy. There we go, friends. Okay? So here you have your paper. It's folded into 4. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold our, let's say it's a mini hot dog, towards the center like this. Okay, and then we're going to take the other side and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, friends? So you're folding it in to 2 mini hot dog buns, okay, like this. Okay, and then you're going to take those things you just folded and bend them back again to make them extra easy to work with. Okay, 1 mini hot dog, 2 mini hot dogs. Okay, so now you have a piece of paper that should look like this, okay? If you do not fret. I had to try a few times to make this work for me. So now we're going to fold it into a hamburger bun, okay? Fold it into a hamburger bun, folding it this way. Right, but I have to cut it this way, right? I cut it like this, yeah. So then you have your hot dog, your hamburger bun, okay? And then you're gonna take your scissors. You're gonna take scissors, and then you're gonna cut to the first fold, okay? So you're gonna cut along the fold to the next fold, okay, friends? And then you're gonna open it up and you have your cut hot dog bun, okay? So now this is the tricky part, okay? You are going to make a cross, okay? So you want this fold, when you push the paper together, to go on either side, okay? So what it should look like from the top is a cross, okay? Like this. It should look like, can you see that? A cross. Whoopsies. Okay, and then you fold it and you have a little zine. Whoopsies, I did something wrong. Of course. Okay, so you have this, and it should make a little, you fold it, right? How does this work now? And you fold it, so you have your cross, okay? You fold it in like a cross, right? And then you have yourself a little zine. If I can do it correctly, haha. So your zine will end up looking like this, okay? So here is your fold, okay? And your two sticking out pieces. Does that make any sense? Like this, and then you fold them together, and then you have the outside of the spine that is together. It's entire, it's entire, and then you have your little pieces of paper in here. So the cool thing about making this little zine is you can choose whatever you want to put in here. You can put words and pictures, or just words, or whatever. And then the other super cool thing is that when you're done your zine, you can attach them to other zines, right? And you can make yourself a little book. And that should keep you busy for a while. Thanks a lot, friends. Thank you so much for being here with me and joining us with Artist is a Storyteller. We hope to see you here at the gallery. And take good care and be safe. Thanks.